Hello, everyone. Welcome to Self Love You. Please like, subscribe, and share if you like my content. Today's topic is going to be gang gaslighting. I am coining this term because it came to me as I was working on something. Gang gaslighting. What is gang gaslighting? To know what gang gaslighting is, it's a very insidious abuse tactic that can really mess with one's reality and be very frustrating and difficult to untangle from and overcome. And so I'm going to talk about gang gaslighting just to start the conversation. Hopefully other YouTubers will pick it up, and maybe they already have, I don't know. But I want to talk about gang gaslighting for your benefit, for the self-lovies, for the people who are really working on learning to love yourself, learning to decipher between abusive behavior, between loving behavior, self-care, toxic behavior, and learning to untangle from toxic situations and to realize just what the heck has happened to you to make you hurt sometimes. So I'm going to talk about gang gaslighting in a sense of, let's just go into gaslighting. There are many, many podcasts and videos on social media about gaslighting. You guys probably do not need to know what it is. However, if you know just the generic definition of gaslighting, emotional abuse gaslighting, then you know that it is one person who is trying to reinvent the reality of the victim, per se, or the unknowing, naive person, or the person who has no boundaries and doesn't understand, or the person who is being abused. So there's the concept of gaslighting is where, a super duper narcissistic abuser tells the gaslighted person that the picture that was on the wall was never on the wall. That's just a perfect example, a classic example of gaslighting, where you know that the picture was on the wall, but the person says, no, the picture was not on the wall. And then you begin to question your own reality, your own observance of facts, and you begin to question yourself, and then you begin to lose a sense of your own identity. You are disconnected from your intuition. You are disconnected from your I am over time, because this is an insidious abuse tactic. Over time, you will begin to mistrust yourself and begin to trust the person who is gaslighting you. If this process has occurred from a very early age in your life, then you are completely likely disconnected from your intuition until you do the work to reconnect yourself and reboot, reprogram yourself, and realize what is happening. Gaslighting is a lot more intricate than simply having a photo removed from the wall that you knew was on the wall. Gaslighting also involves intricate abuses. And the intricate abuses of gaslighting are used to benefit the gaslighter, the toxic behavior, the toxic person who wants you to believe an image, who wants you to believe a narrative, who wants you to believe an illusion, who wants you to feel less about yourself, who needs to feel more powerful, who wants to take your power from you. This person is doing this for a purpose, and they may or may not know what they're doing. It may or may not be conscious, and it can also be conscious as time goes by. The gaslighter is gaslighting away your reality, especially when you've grown up in this environment. In my family, I come from a lot of gaslighting. Just a whole entire segment of my family, that's what they did. They gaslighted everything away. And it's basically, gaslighting is like taking an eraser to your humanity, taking an eraser to your thoughts, your feelings, your sense of knowing, and your intuition. It's like taking an eraser and just erasing who you are, what you think. It is invalidation at the highest level, and it is so hard to overcome and recognize, and sad. It's sad when a child is told that they should be happy when they're sad. Because if a child is always their sadness is gaslighted away and they're told to be happy when they're sad, then they never truly are able to naturally, organically get in touch with their inner truth. And they cannot make decisions about aspects of their own life. And they are thwarted, and they are kept from very important milestones in learning because the truth is gaslighted away. Their humanity is gaslighted away. It's not just a picture on the wall. It is literally their existence that is gaslighted away, which means that whatever they're thinking or feeling, they are told from outside sources that are more powerful that they believe that what is happening is not happening. What you think happened did not happen. Don't be so silly. Of course that's not happening. Of course we love you. Or you hear of stories of families that are having, violence in the living room, and the child comes out of the room and the parents say, and the child says, "Mommy, what's wrong?" And the parents say, "Nothing, dear. Nothing's wrong. Just go back to bed. Everything is fine." That is the process of gaslighting away what is concerning to the child. And you are invalidating the reality of the child by gaslighting the truth away. It is unhealthy for the child. It's better for the child to see the truth, recognize the truth, and be validated in their own truth than it is to pretend like everything is sunshine and rainbows. Believe it or not, a child isn't adaptable. A child can adapt. A child can resolve and process. It could be painful, just like it would be for an adult, but it's better for a child to be able to see what's really happening. Hopefully a child doesn't have to experience this. It would be very traumatic, but it adds insult to injury to gaslight what a child has seen. This is a very, gaslighting is it's a strategy used by abusers. It is a form of emotional abuse. When something happens or the abuser does something and turns around and says, "I did not do that, you did it." Okay? Or if an abuser at all turns around, does something to you, and then denies that they did it. If an abuser does something like, let's say you have someone who is on the stand in a trial, in this true crime that I'm so obsessed with. I love all this true crime. I'm fascinated by the interrogation process and true crime. And let's say you have someone on the stand who is saying, "I don't remember. I don't remember important aspects of their lives that, of course, they remember. They remember details about what they ate at that dinner. Why don't they remember other very valid details?" It is because the process of saying, "I don't remember," is gaslighting. The process of saying, "I didn't do it." Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I did not do it. That is gaslighting. if they actually did it. That is gaslighting. Gaslighting is a lie. It is a lie to benefit the gaslighter. The gaslighter needs power and control over the people or person being gaslighted. And when they need this power and control, they will do whatever they have to do. And part of that is gaslighting and erasing the reality of the victim from existence. This is very confusing and frustrating when you don't know what is going on, especially. Even if you know what's going on, it is very frustrating. Gaslighting is the process of changing the narrative to suit the gaslighter, making the whole scene and scenario one that makes the gaslighting person, puts them in a better light, puts them at a more powerful place, gives them authority over defining reality. Someone who is gaslighting you is incapable of seeing you as a separate person for the most part. They don't see you as a separate person. They see you as a tool. They live life in a way that gobbles up everyone's power and attempts to gather people around them that will fall for their version of events. And if you're unaware of this type of behavior, if you are not self-aware, if you haven't done the work, if you are so full of self-blame, if you're so wounded, if you're so traumatized, if you're so full of toxic shame, you may not have the skills, the ability, the insight, the security in yourself to recognize gaslighting for what it is. Another part about gaslighting, which I just alluded to, is when someone gaslights and says, "No, I didn't do it. You did this." And then it's like any lie or liar or pathological liar who tells the lie so many times that they begin to believe their own lies. And if you are embroiled with this type of toxic relationship or environment, you too may begin to believe the lies. Gaslighting is a deep, granular, insidious form of lying. It's a form of control and power, and it can be used in all sorts of levels, from the subconscious to the conscious, to brainwashing, to cult-like behavior, where you say what is not as if it is, and say what is as if it is not. We're talking today about gang gaslighting. So gang gaslighting is when you have, it's much like the process of mass hypnosis. Look that up. It's very interesting. Mass hypnosis or mass psychosis, where a group of people will enforce a lie, where an entire group, like if you have a smear campaign. I remember one time I went to this church and this lady accused me of some very odd, the pastor's wife accused me of standing up at a party and saying that I had an affair with one of the pastors. Now, this was way back when. And back in these days, I was a teetotaler. I didn't go to parties. This church was a little, I don't know. I mean, I used to be mega, mega, mega Christian. And I went to Bible school and I lived the life. I walked the walk, talked the talk. And I would have never in a million years even gone to a party at that time. Maybe it was my rigidity. I don't know, but that's beside the point. The woman was flat out lying. So they brought me in to the office at the church, and I must have done something to tick her off, whatever. But they bring me in to the church and they said, somebody has said that you stood up at a party and told everybody at the party, that you had an affair with the pastor. And I was like, what? This was all news to me, never heard of it, hadn't been to a party, really was just shocked by this. And I immediately felt very uncomfortable and was trying to prove myself and say no. And I said, who said this about me? Who is it? But they didn't bring my accusers to bear. They didn't bring my accusers into the room, which is a biblical concept, by the way. If someone accuses you in the Bible, you're supposed to take two witnesses and go to that person, and you're supposed to be upfront. And, this did not happen. I was just in a room accused. It was bizarre. Obviously, that was not a good church to go to. But at this moment, I was just very naive. And I was just like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I never did that. I don't even go to parties. And then all of a sudden, and so then they told me, I think it was an associate pastor or something, told me, okay, it's cleared up. Well, okay. And then I was working in the children's church because I was very dedicated. Here I was working in the children's church on a Wednesday night or something. And the pastor's wife walked in, and this is a mega church, very well-known church. And the pastor's wife walked in with the wife of the man that I was accused of saying I had an affair with, which was so insane. I mean, I was celibate at the time, okay? So anyway, they had pegged me for somebody that I was not. They didn't realize my background. They didn't even know me. And then the pastor's wife came to me and she said, while I was with the kids and brought me aside and with this other woman and said, we heard that there's some issues with you. We heard there's some issues with you and some things you did. And I said, oh no, that's all been cleared up. That's all been cleared up. I talked to the other pastor and they were like, oh. And that's when it became clear to me who was the originator of the rumor. I mean, I really felt in my heart, okay, this lady is the one who wants me not to be here. And and I left, and I was just so appalled that the pastor's wife believed a lie about me and was spreading a lie and actually brought a lie up to me and was being so cruel. And this is a church where I was dedicating my life. So I say that to say that this was gang gaslighting. They had told a smear about me. They had told a lie about me. Maybe they didn't like the way I was, singing in the choir. I probably, who knows? Maybe I was annoying. I'm not saying that I wasn't annoying. I could have been, or maybe I wasn't. Maybe they were just, they didn't like my light. Who knows what the reasoning is? I'm not going to speculate, but I will say that it was a process of gang gaslighting where all of them got together and decided something about me without proof, without, validation. And then they acted and reacted and treated me accordingly, and it was wrong of them to do. I left the church immediately. I was so humiliated and so embarrassed and felt so unwanted when you're the pastor's wife who you look up to with all your, doe-eyed, I was so naive. And I just felt just humiliated and hurt. And I left the church, and a few years later, I had heard through the grapevine that pastor that I was accused of saying I had an affair with was on the Jumbotron admitting that he had an affair on his wife. And it was just weird. And he went and started another church or something. And I never looked back. I was just like, okay, they're the weirdos. I didn't do jack crap here. So the reason I say that has occurred to me in many, many aspects of my life where, like people accuse you or me or anyone of something, and then the whole group gets in on the bandwagon and begins to gaslight you by saying you did something that you didn't do, or repeating the original, what do you call it? We need a word. When someone gaslights, they say that a picture is on the wall that was never on the wall, that wasn't on the wall, but they come to you, point to the picture, and say, this was on the wall. That is gaslighting. So this is a group of people coming in and saying, that picture was on the wall. You don't know what you're talking about. So that is mass psychosis. That is a group. That's the nugget of a smear campaign. When someone who has some reason to try to garner power, to steal your light, to steal your humanity, to steal your existence, to steal your connection to your own intuition, your own knowing, to steal your reality, when a group comes together because one person alone can't do it and you're too strong. If you get too strong, if you get too powerful, if you get, if your light starts shining, it's a crab in a bucket mentality. A gang will come along and they will link up together in effort to snuff you out, to snuff your reality, to cause you to be confused, to doubt yourself, to doubt your reality, and cause you to miss out on what is rightfully yours. Because if you allow gaslighting to continue, then you will miss out on opportunities in life. This could happen at work. And if you have a gang of people accusing you of doing something unethical that you don't even know what they're talking about. And then all of a sudden you've got gangs of people who are, plotting and against you, gossiping, who their image of you is lowered, their opinion of you is lowered, your reputation is lowered, you're being gaslighted, you're being told through a group, which is a very powerful group mentality. Everyone wants a good reputation. Everyone wants to be loved. And in some instances, you have to pretend like what they say is true in order to receive love that you need in life. In certain situations, if you're in a family unit, or if you're at work, or if you're in a group, the dynamics are that you have to play into this role that's untrue. And hopefully you can hold on to your identity and your sense of self and not allow them to break you, but they will try. And I think it's a mark of a very strong person who can maintain a semblance of sanity and maintain control and not be reactive and just see it for what it is. It's outside of you. It's gaslighting. It's them saying what is not, because they can't bear to see your light. They can't bear to allow you to exist. They can't bear to admit the truth. They can't bear to let you have any power. It makes me think of, if you're wanting to exist, you need to exist. And they're saying, no, you may not exist. We see you as this. This is our choice. We don't want to see your light. We don't want to see your right to determine what is true and what is not. We want to ignore that because we have the power, and we're going to squash it. We're going to sit on it. And the more people we can get to agree with this new version of reality, with this illusion, the more people that believe us, the more you're going to feel off base, and the more power we're going to get, because people are they have mirror neurons, and they follow one another, and we want them to agree with us so that you can think the picture was never on the wall. This gaslighting is it's tangible, like on actual things that happen in your life. People gaslight you by saying they don't remember. That's a very powerful gaslighting tool because it's very difficult to hold anyone accountable to anything if they say they do not remember. It's impossible because how can you fault someone for a lack of memory? And so when you're speaking to someone, holding them accountable, expressing your truth, validating your own truth in the presence of another person, and then they, are with you, yeah. But then when you get to the nugget, then they say, I don't remember. And in a way that invalidates your reality because they refuse to remember when in all likelihood, they probably remember. No one, if someone has abused you in the past and they say they don't remember, I mean, come on, really? How convenient is that? That's pretty convenient that you just don't remember the times when, anytime, whenever you were rude to me or you hurt me or you abused me, you just forgot about that. How convenient. Or if you're on the stand, anytime you didn't do the crime. So the gang process is a group dynamic. It's a cult-like dynamic. It's where different people agree to or a group of people come to a consensus upon what reality is, and they become very staunch in their motives, in their position, and do not receive information or facts or evidence to the contrary. They do not, whatever they hear, whatever they see, if it's contrary to what they believe to be true, whether what they believe to be true is true or not, they have cognitive dissonance. They have a bias to believe this lie that they're believing. And it's what happens in a cult or a family, like a criminal family, where everybody has to think alike. And if you think outside of that box, then you're the black sheep. You're the truth teller. And if you're the truth teller, then all of these, people who are stuck together like glue, enmeshed, will come against you and use the process of gang gaslighting. This is very painful if you're a child and you have a group of adults who are gang gaslighting you, and you know what's happening, or you think as a child. It's hard because as a child you need adults to validate what your perceptions are. And if you have a gang around you telling you that what you're seeing and what you're feeling is not really what you're seeing and what you're feeling, and that what you're seeing and feeling is incorrect, down to how you feel when you're sad, how you feel when you're happy, what just happened to you, how you're being abused, how you're being neglected, how, one family member is, the golden child and you're not, how people are treating you with disdain, and they're like, no, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So it is invalidation and gaslighting, and it's gang. It's gang. And so it could become a gang, because what a gaslighter is very astute at gaining power, at targeting individuals who have weak boundaries, weak sense of self, who will easily agree with them. Or a toxic person is great at gathering other toxic people who create like a snake pit, and they just enjoy messing with people's heads and causing frustration. And so it is very frustrating when you're being gaslighted. A person who is gaslighting has something to lose. There may be money at stake. There may be power at stake. There may be public perception at stake. They may want to make a bunch of money, so they want to gaslight. They may not, they may want to take a bunch of money from you. They may want to make a bunch of money from others. They may want to take money from you. They may want to prejudice which means damage the image of the victim to other people. So they use the technique of gaslighting, or they use the technique of gaslighting to cause the image of the person being gaslighted to be diminished and to destroy the reputation of the person being gaslighted, and then begin to try to steamroll this narrative through the system so that they win and their narrative wins and they write history, and the truth of history is actually just trampled over. You know, there's a lot to gaslighting. I think that it's very under considered, and I think that it is, you know, one of the things that's difficult is that these emotional abuses, there is no court of law there's no court. It's intangible. So there's not any type of codified law that says you just did this. Now, if you look at if you look at legal system, we do have laws against lying on the stand. We do have laws against lying in the interrogation room. We have laws against perjury. You know, we have to, when you're under oath, you have to say the truth and tell the truth. But the legal system does not incorporate these concepts such as gaslighting. Okay, it's not illegal to gaslight. And I feel that we need some sort of codification in the legal system that makes it literally a thing where we recognize it. The problem is that a lot of the people that are in power to write the laws use gaslighting on a regular basis. They certainly don't want to stop it. But I think that it would be helpful if we had laws against gaslighting, laws against invalidation, where, you know, parents are taught in parenting class that you need to validate the reality of others. You need to validate the reality of your children. And then children are taught that their reality is reality. Okay, that you're not the crazy one, that these people are trying to foist upon you a reality that improves their image, gets them what they want, helps them to gain power, helps them to take your power, and cause you to feel like you don't know what you're doing and you can't even think straight, because of course I must be wrong if everybody says that I'm not being abused here. It must be true. It must be true. And so one of the beautiful things about life that I love is God is in control, and God is beautiful, and I believe that God will right the wrongs with truth. In my life, truth has always prevailed, and that is one of my, that's a leading factor of my life, is just trusting God to bring the truth. The truth eventually comes to light, and everyone who gaslights eventually has to face the truth, one way or the other. Eventually in their life, the truth is going to be faced, whether they want to face it now or later. What concerns me is someone who allows the gaslighting to twist and contort their own self-perception and causes them to not believe their own intuition, and causes them to really feel badly about themselves and not see the love that is within, not feel the love of God, not incorporate the beauty of life, not be able to really experience joy because of the invalidation and the gaslighting. No matter what, God is in control. He will make the wrongs right, and He will defend you in circumstances of smear campaigns. If you are, a follower of God and you love God, He will defend you. And you don't really have to say a word. You don't have to argue with these gaslighting people. You don't even have to go there. There's plenty of space for you elsewhere where you're believed, where you can, know what the truth is, where you can be accepted, internally how you can be validated. And there's help for you if you need validation, and you don't have to waste time on gaslighters. And sometimes there's nothing you can do about them, but God can, because, Satan is the father of lies and God is the truth. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And that's what God is all about. And so that's really all the hope that I have. I mean, trying to get out of the tongue twister of someone who is gaslighting. It's impossible to do because we have no court system to stop it. We have no consensus. We have no group vernacular for addressing, no codified requirements or laws for addressing the gaslighting process. It is accepted, it is seen as acceptable, and it is denied. I mean, gaslighting is denied, and in that is gaslighting. Gaslighting is denied, that's gaslighting. Anytime the truth is denied, you have a gaslighting scenario. And so, God is in control, and He will untangle every gaslighting situation if we have faith and just believe that He will do it. He will. And in that, we can grow as people and love ourselves as we love our neighbors and love God with all our hearts. And that, in my opinion, is the secret and to success. So God bless everybody. I hope this is helpful to you. If you've had a gaslighting experience that you just can't really figure out or you're working on, leave me a comment. Leave me a comment anyway. I really love hearing from you guys. I hope you're having a blessed Saturday. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.